Hey guys, what's up? It's been quite a while, but we have since moved to a new home, and today I thought I'd just do a favor for a friend and talk about just how to start gardening. So, the first thing I would do, and I'll try to put this in subtitles below for you guys. So the first thing I would look up if you're starting a garden in 2022 for the first time is your planting zone or your plant hardiness zone. Where I am, it's zone 7A. The last frost date is April 20 something. So that means the weather might still drop to freezing sometime this month or maybe even the first half of April. So it's very important that you find a website. You can simply type in your zip code, a website like Farmer's Almanac. There are many others. You can type in your zip code and it will tell you when your frost date is, or your last frost date rather. So once you know that, you know how much time you have until your last frost date. Right now, I think we're sitting at about 7-ish weeks until April 20th. So that's how much time I have pretty much to start something from seed indoors and to transplant it outside. Now, if you're a new gardener, there are a few seasons that you should know about. So, just like spring, summer, fall, you can start crops in each one of those seasons except for winter. So, that obviously depends on what your climate is. So, um, for you who are new gardeners, you can start something in the spring and you can pick cool season crops like radishes, like most leafy greens, or maybe all leafy greens are cool season crops, and they do better in cooler weather. So you can try to plant it in warmer weather, but most likely, because of the nature of the plant, if it's a cool season crop, it will bolt. And bolting means it will stop producing delicious leaves for you to munch on, or it'll just stop producing and it will go into survival mode and send up a stalk or just start producing flowers in its own way, so it can produce seeds to ensure its own survival. So it's best to do cool season crops during a cool season. And then another thing that I would really recommend is looking up, researching soil. So there's two things that are really important for soil. One is texture. So at my house, we have clay. You can see right here. It's actually, to me, it's a beautiful orange color. So, like a burnt orange, like sunset orange. Um, but the clay will be too dense, especially when it's rainy. So that is not good for the roots, for your vegetables. It will basically choke the roots, and your plant will not do well if the soil is too dense. Also, the opposite is true. If you have a sandy soil, it is a lot of, well, veggies can do better in sandy soil, since there's more air. However, it's still not the best. Sandy soils also tend to be not very nutrient dense just because of how they are. The granules are just too big, there's too many air pockets, it's not going to hold in nutrients as well as the more denser soils. Interesting thing about clay, I heard it's actually quite nutrient dense. Just because it's so thick, the nutrients can't really escape from it. So that's one of the reasons why I did not make my raised bed this year super tall. It's only about 5 inches off the ground, like from the grass. And I did that on purpose because I'm hoping the roots of my veggies will go down all the way to the clay that's under it, and that it can take advantage of the nutrients found in clay. So that's my hope. The best soil is what, if you've been reading up on it, it's called Loamy Soil. It's just, and this is actually a little bit, I would want a little bit more maybe in this. But it's just organic matter. It's broken down small enough so that the roots have breathing room, and it just has the ability to hold nutrients and to also let water drain freely through. So it's pretty much the happy medium of soils. As a new gardener, I would say beware of seed starting kits and things like cocoa coir. It's not bad, but a lot of those things do not contain any nutrients for the plants. So hopefully it tells you on the back of the bag how much nutrients is in the soil. It will tell you the amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, NPK for short, which is very important. I call it the holy trinity of plant nutrients. I'm falling here. Pick this up. Oh. Anyway, I call it the holy grail of plant nutrients. And this is my raised bed, by the way. My 2 raised beds. And so, again, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. If your plant is looking weak, looking yellow, droopy, it could be the soil texture issue, too little or too much water, or it can be it's lacking in nutrients from NPK, one of those. So yeah, definitely look on the seed starting bag to see if it has some nutrients in the soil. If not, you can always use some fertilizer. I know blood meal is pretty much all nitrogen. Bone meal is pretty much all phosphorus. And I'm not sure about potassium, but NPK, if you remember that, then I think you know the basics of plant fertilizer, if you know that. So yeah, I think that's all that I wanted to say. Texture, nutrients, and just, I guess if you're starting, just don't overwhelm yourself by trying to plant a Garden of Eden there in your backyard. Just pick a few and read up on those certain plants. Like if your favorite is broccoli, read up on broccoli's needs and how it grows. If your favorite is leafy greens, read up on that. If your favorite is a sunflower, read up on that. So yeah, it's just take it a little bit at a time. I started doing gardening at the beginning of when COVID hit, and I found it extremely peaceful and just I love the practicality of it, and I'm learning about nutrients along the way. Unfortunately, and this is a theory, that I think because we've been so dependent on the big box stores for our food, you know, most people in the city and the suburbs, like, we don't have chickens anymore. We don't have cows anymore. We don't have pigs anymore. And we need those animals to enrich the soil. It's just a wondrous cycle how when you feed these animals and you take care of them, and in their waste product, their manure, that they give back to the land and they make the soil and the land fertile again. And so I'm a big supporter of composting at home, and learning about soil and regenerating the land that we have again for self-sufficiency. So I wish you well on this journey. Again, I know there is a lot of stress in our economy right now. Not just America, but definitely worldwide. And I think as individuals, if we get back to the land and use the resources that we have on our own property, we will be much better off for our families and for our communities. So, and that is all for today, and I'll talk to y'all next time.